With NASCAR set to begin its new television deal in 2025, it got me thinking, with all of the television partners it has had over the years, there are some that have gone completely forgotten. So forgotten that even some of the most diehard NASCAR fans probably didn't know these channels existed. To qualify for this list, you can't be a current television partner. Or if they're a former television partner, their stay in the sport had to have been extremely brief. So when I say NASCAR's forgotten television partners, I truly mean that. Some of the channels NASCAR was on back in the day may shock you, and by the end of the video, you also may feel a little more appreciative of the current television deal we have now. So without further ado, let's get into it.
Welcome to the North Carolina Motor Speedway at Rockingham. I'm Mike Joy with Motor Racing Network, here for the 16th annual American 500 Grand National Stock Car Race.
Nope, your eyes are not deceiving you. That is indeed an MRN mic flack, because back in the day, MRN, the Motor Racing Network, had a TV division. We all know them as the radio network that syndicates NASCAR races, but their days on television have gone largely forgotten. From 1979 to 1981, they broadcasted select Cup Series races. The most notable people on those broadcasts were a very young Mike Joy and NASCAR Hall of Famer Ned Jarrett. The reason they're being mentioned is by technicality, even though they are a current broadcast partner, that's on the radio. Many are unaware that they were once on television. After the 1981 Riverside season opener, they stopped broadcasting races on TV and stuck strictly to radio.
For Ned Jarrett, I'm Mike Joy. That's the story of the Alabama 500.
The following is a motorsports presentation of Television Sports USA, the Mislu Television Network. From Charlotte Motor Speedway in Charlotte, North Carolina, this is the 1983 Miller High Life 500.
The Mislu Television Network is remembered mostly for its broadcasting of college football games from the 1960s to the 1980s. It was not only a syndicated network, but just like MRN TV and some of the races back in the day, they were edited and shown on tape delay. They began broadcasting races in 1982 with Dave Despain doing the lap-by-lap and Dick Brooks as his color commentator. In 1983, that changed with Ken Squire doing the lap-by-lap and Phil Parsons as his color commentator. Their last race broadcast was the 1986 Delaware 500 at Dover, and after the season, they had finished covering NASCAR races. Without question, the biggest races the network covered was not only the World 600, but also Richard Petty's infamous 198th career win.
There was a remarkable postscript to the 24th annual Miller High Life 500. You're looking at the scene 4.5 hours after the event was completed in the press box at the Charlotte Motor Speedway. Just moments ago, Bill Gazaway of NASCAR made this announcement. Richard Petty's motor was found to be some 24 cubic inches over the limit. The 355 limit, it came in at 381.983 in measurement. And at the end of the race, left side tires all the way around. That's a big no-no. The penalty, $35,000 fine, a 104-point disallowance, which is the amount of points he picked up, put him right back to where the race began. But the win, number 198, stands. So Petty wins the Miller High Life 500, but he is fined about what he would have earned, plus his points are disallowed. That's the story after the race is over and the inspection is completed here in the garage area at Charlotte. For Donnie Allison, for Charlie Harville, Leslie Calloway, I'm Ken Squire at the 1983 Miller High Life 500.
This has been a featured presentation of Television.
Gentlemen, start your engines. The Wrangler Sanford 400 is a presentation of SETN. the Special Events Television Network.
Just like MisterMoop, the Special Events Television Network was also a syndicated network that broadcasted tape-delayed NASCAR races. Along with NASCAR races, they also broadcasted a few International Hot Rod Association events. But they're mostly remembered for NASCAR, and the races they covered include tracks such as Daytona, Charlotte, Richmond, Pocono, Martinsville, and Rockingham. Their most notable lap-by-lap commentators include Dave Despain, Mike Joy, and Eli Gold, and for color commentary you had Dick Berggren and Benny Parsons on events, and former drivers Ron Bouchard and Phil Parsons, and finally a very young Dr. Jerry Punch. But by 1988, the Special Events Television Network was underfunded, and with the rise of racing on ESPN growing in popularity, there was really no scenario where they could continue, and in June of 1988, they ceased operations with their races moving to different networks.
So it's on to Martinsville, Virginia for SETN. That'll be our next race, the Goodies 500. Check your local listing for time and stations. As for Charlie Harville, Dick Berggren, and Benny Parsons, this is Mike Joy congratulating Darrell Waltrip on his Wrangler Sanford 400 victory.
Charlotte Motor Speedway and Jefferson Pilot Color Productions presents exclusive coverage of the 1985 Coca-Cola World 600, a possible winner's purse of over $1 million in NASCAR's most grueling race.
Jefferson Pilot Sports produced syndicated college sports events for both the SEC and ACC. Older college sports fans remember them as the SEC Network before the SEC Network. From 1985 to 1987, they broadcasted syndicated coverage of the NASCAR Cup Series races at Charlotte. This not only included the World 600, the fall race, but also the All-Star race. Mike Joy did the lap-by-lap coverage for most of their races. My goodness, he's worked everywhere. But interesting enough, for the 1985 Winston, he had Kyle Petty as a co-commentator. They stopped their NASCAR broadcast after 1987 and continued to cover college sports. They were later rebranded over the years to Lincoln Financial Sports, and then in 2007, they sold that division to Raycom Media and now operate under the banner of Raycom Sports.
The World 600 is an exclusive presentation of Jefferson Pilot Teleproductions.
Ordering is easy and fast with Viewer's Choice Pay-Per-View. Just choose the show you want to see and tune to the channel playing your selection.
Oh my gosh, I can't believe they did this. So remember when the Special Events Television Network shut down? Well, Pocono was looking for a replacement for its race broadcast and decided it would be an awesome idea to put the freaking Pocono race under a paywall. That's right. On pay-per-view, Pocono. Can you imagine if we had social media from 1988 to 1990 where fans would constantly complain every single year that one of the Pocono races would be on pay-per-view? Dave Despain was the lap-by-lap commentator, but interesting enough, for one of the races, former Indy 500 driver Lynn St. James was a color commentator. These pay-per-views didn't find much success because, again, NASCAR fans were like, hell nah, I'm not paying to see what I could usually see for free. And again, it's Pocono on pay-per-view. But at least the broadcast let fans call in and ask questions during the races. I'll give it that. These lasted from 1988 to 1990, and thank goodness they haven't been on pay-per-view since.
A wonderful show here, and we certainly hope that you've enjoyed it here on SET Uninterrupted by Commercials. For Lynn St. James, Gary Nelson, for Pat Patterson and Dick Berggren, I'm Dave Despain. So long from Pocono.
From high in the beautiful Pocono Mountains, Spectra Communications and On Pit Road Teleproductions at the Pocono International Raceway present the Miller High Life 500.
After the Special Events Television Network shut down, the other Pocono race was broadcasted on the Financial News Network in 1988. They had a sports programming block on the weekends called Score/FNN Sports. They were known mostly for their professional wrestling coverage. Here's an interview with The Rock's father, Rocky Johnson. But their time in the sport was very brief. Now, I saw somewhere else where it said they broadcasted a couple of races, but I couldn't find what the other one was. But I do know after 1988, they stopped covering NASCAR. Now, I do want to make a bit of a correction before we move on. While they did air sports-themed programming on the weekend, that didn't start until September of 1988. Meaning that they had programming on weekdays before then. But they moved it to the weekends to allow FNN to broadcast during prime time. But when CNBC acquired FNN in 1991, sports was dropped entirely.
It's been our pleasure bringing this one to you. For Bob Latford and Pat Patterson and Bill Hennessy, thanks for being with us. We look forward to seeing you again on another broadcast soon.
Sports Channel America is mostly remembered for its hockey coverage, but back in 1990, they broadcasted a few NASCAR Busch Series races. Once again, Mike Joy was the lead commentator. I've lost track of how many channels he's been on, but just like FNN, they only lasted a year in the sport. After 1990, they didn't broadcast any more NASCAR races, and by 2000, the channel had ceased operations.
Coming in 2 weeks, the Grand National Championship live from Martinsville Speedway. Exclusive coverage here on Sports Channel America. For Glenn Jarrett and Dave Sutherland and Mike Joy, so long.
You may not remember them, but Prime Sports helped revolutionize NASCAR broadcasts. They were the first to broadcast Cup Series qualifying sessions regularly, and although they never broadcasted a Winston Cup Series race, they covered a wide variety of sports, ranging from collegiate to the professional ranks. They did air a few NASCAR Busch Series races, with the biggest being the Goodies 300 at Daytona. They were also one of the first to shed a light on regional auto racing, specifically the NASCAR West Series, the Hooters Pro Cup Series, and even ARCA. Their NASCAR coverage lasted 2 seasons, from 1990 to 1991, and after they ceased operations in 1996, they would later be replaced by the Fox Sports networks. HDNet was launched in 2001 with entrepreneur Mark Cuban as its co-founder. They had a wide variety of programming that was mostly male-oriented, but when it came to sports coverage, they're remembered mostly for their NHL and MLS coverage. But when it came down to racing, they did cover some Champ Car races in 2004, but for NASCAR, from 2005 to 2007, they broadcasted Busch East races. Because it wasn't one of the top NASCAR series, old race broadcasts can be hard to find, but they are around if you look hard enough. After 2007, they never got back into the sport again, and later on, they rebranded to Axe TV, which is still in operation today.
We hope to have you with more racing here on HDNet next spring. So long, everybody.
That concludes the list of NASCAR's most forgotten television partners. Let me know down in the comments below if you knew any of them or if you had absolutely no idea any of these partnerships existed. Don't hold back and let me know it all in the comments below. And once again, that'll do it for another video. Thank you guys so much for watching. This is Black Flags Matter. Catch you next time.